Hi, and welcome back to another edition of Forbidden Depths. Today we're going to feature an amazing dominatrix from Florida. She has been an inspiration for a while. I've been following her on Twitter for a while, and I reached out interested in whether she would be a guest on the podcast. She said yes. I was super stoked. I'm glad to be able to introduce her to you guys and let you see her side of the kink world, kind of how she got into it, her evolution over time, where she started, where she ended up, and kind of a little bit of filler in between. So her story is one of triumph, and I'm super excited to be able to share that with you guys today. She's full of knowledge, full of all of this just useful information from life experiences that she has gained over time. So she is both in real life and online, which is super, super awesome to be that talented. If you guys have any questions, just leave them for us below, and I'll touch base with her, see what we can do. Also, if you don't follow her already, her name is Mistress Rogue, and she does have a Twitter page as well as all kinds of other platforms. You can find her on Twitter at Mistress Rogue FL. That's at MistressRogueF like Frank, L like Larry. And she has all of her links in her bio. You can find all of her goodies. But overall, knowledge. You can observe, follow, and in the future, potentially have her as a mentor. So, before we get into anything else, I do want to thank you for supporting the channel and continuing to come back, so you can not only learn and hear from all of these different people that have all of these amazing stories and, you know, their own individual perception, but you can learn things about the community and about practicing safely that maybe you wouldn't have found anywhere else. So continue to come back. Thanks again for supporting the channel, and welcome to another episode of Forbidden Depths. Here we go. Think now. Awesome.
Got it.
So thank you so much for being present today. I do want to go ahead and take a moment to let you introduce yourself to everyone on Forbidden Depths.
Awesome. Well, my name is Mistress Rogue, and I'm a professional dominatrix in Florida, specifically in the Tampa Bay area.
Very nice, very nice. And she's super, super amazing. Everyone, make sure you go support and give all of the attention possible to her. So she's already introduced herself and her profession. So the next question that I have for you, Mistress Rogue, is whenever you got
You
into
can
the
just call me
industry,
Rogue, please.
whenever you got into the industry, was it something that was hard for you, or did you have like some mentor or some kind of help along the way?
So, a little bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
I had a friend, well, she's still my friend at the time, who is actually Mistress Mercy.
Mm-hmm.
And I met her partner at the time, and I noticed that she was doing professional domination services for a living.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought that she was so cute and like kind of like next door type of girl. And I was like, oh, hold on a minute. You
Right.
know, you don't have to be like a model looking person to do this. And I
Mm-hmm.
had always had like a really interesting fascination for the lifestyle. So
Right.
I kind of like dove into it, got myself like into the community, and kind of asked her a lot of questions about safety. And she
Mm-hmm.
was always so open-minded to tell me and help me out. So I consider her kind of like a mentor. It's like not official, but
Right.
she's always gonna be that person that kind of, it's not that she got me into it, but when I saw that she was doing it, I was like, okay, this is possible. This is something
Right.
that I could be doing for a living. So that's how
Right.
I started.
Awesome. Awesome. So it was more or less you saw a little bit of the community beforehand, but after you personally saw someone involved, you
Mm-hmm.
were like, hey, that's possible for everyone, not just people that
Yeah,
are
she
like
seemed to be having
models.
so much fun with it,
Yeah.
and she does. She has so much fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
She's kind of like a very she's a mommy dome, completely
Mm-hmm.
different to like who I am and what I
Right.
do. And that's totally fine because we're
Right.
all different.
Yes.
Um but when I saw that she was really happy doing what she was doing, I kind of came to the conclusion that okay, this is not she's not doing this out of necessity, she's not doing this out of desperation. She's
Mm-hmm.
doing it because she really loves what she does. So I kind of started educating myself and
Mm-hmm.
reading a lot of books and going to events and like Googling and like kind of observing all the other professionals around me and kind of like I was like, wait, this is like super empowering. This is
Oh
super
yes.
cool. There's so many people that want to be friends and help each other and I love it.
Mm-hmm. And I love that aspect. So not everyone has the educated experience where they kind of have someone they can bounce ideas off of for safety and for all these other things.
Mm-hmm.
But you did mention Googling, which is really, really awesome because even if you're in an area where you don't have access to those resources, you still have Google. You can literally Google anything.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, you can. You just have to be careful about, you just doing research because
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, being a professional dominatrix is not something that you can just like you don't have to get a certification anywhere. Like
Right.
but of course, there are courses and there are people who offer education programs, myself included,
Mm-hmm.
after learning for about 5 years
Right.
and doing it professionally. And I think I'm at a level where I can actually teach somebody because I know how it works.
Right.
But when I started, like I made some mistakes, that didn't hurt anybody. But I can see how if you don't do your research, you can potentially injure and also kill somebody. So you
Oh
have to be
yes.
really, really careful with the things that you do for your own safety as well, you
Mm-hmm.
know? Mm-hmm.
100%. 100%. Now, whenever you got into the field, was there something that inspired you before you met those people in person? Was there something that kind of just drew you to the kink community in the first place?
Honestly, it's gonna sound like super cliche and boring and like super uninteresting. But to be honest, I think that my kinky awakening was when I first watched that Batman Returns movie and I saw
Mm-hmm.
Michelle Pfizer in that
Oh, yes.
PVC shiny catsuit. I was like, okay,
That's
I
where it's
think I
at for
want to
me.
be her.
Right? Oh my
Absolutely.
goodness.
I feel like I've
I
always had a fascination for that shiny
mm-hmm.
aesthetic. I mean, as you can tell, I'm wearing latex because any excuse is a good excuse.
Right, right. I am very similar. I can remember Catwoman being my favorite as well. Very similar.
Oh yeah,
Um,
the whip also.
yes.
It's just something about it, and like the whole transformation thing throughout the movie, how
Hmm.
she goes from being like really submissive and like
Feeble and
head
humble.
down and stuff
Hmm.
to like going
Empowered.
absolutely bonkers. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like that.
Yes. Definitely. Now, so whenever you got into sex work as a whole, do you feel like there were certain strengths that you had that made it something that was more enjoyable for you, that made it more empowering for you?
I think that the number one thing that I believe has helped me get where I am is actually instinct.
Hmm.
Um and I want to say like most women do have this like gut feeling.
Right.
It's like spidey
Yeah.
senses
Yeah.
if you want to go with like Marvel. I'm a nerd also, so
Oh, same.
the references are there. So I feel like from the beginning, of course, the first few sessions I am like, what am I doing? Of course, they're
Hmm.
like terrified and
Right.
nervous. But as I continue to like see people, I kind of develop this ability to kind of read the person as they come through the door, because at the end of the day, the way that I started doing bookings, I would never really know what they look like. I would see maybe like a picture on an ID, and like that was it, or just their information, and run a background check
Right.
on the other end. But very, very rarely I would find a picture of them. I just kind of uh looked if they were safe when it comes to like having like a good criminal record, and that's it. I don't
Right.
know anything else. I didn't ask many
Right.
questions, because at the beginning, like, I don't know what's good to say, what's not good to say. So it was always like, mystery box. You get a
Right.
mystery human through the door, and I kind of had to like quick scan. Okay, what does this guy want?
Right.
And kind of roll with it. So kind of through the years, I kind of developed this. Oh, okay, I know what you want. I know what kind of person you are. Very good. And most, 9 out of 10 is good.
Right. And that is a talent. Let me tell you, that is a talent in
Yes.
itself. Not everyone can do that. So props.
Yes, that is very important. I think it can be developed through like repetition and
Right.
training.
Right.
But it's so important, and I think that has been definitely an advantage. Just kind of following my gut, and it
Right.
has saved me from trouble for sure.
Oh yeah. Oh
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Especially with everything that goes on around you, because like you said, sometimes whenever you do get a reading for someone, it's not always 100% accurate. Sometimes it's kind of,
Absolutely. Yes, yes. I think
Okay.
running back is just so important. I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Yes, 100%. Okay, so what involved, what pros and cons are involved with being a dominatrix? So
Oh my
tell me
God.
the goods and the bads. I want to know it all.
You know what? I'm gonna start with the goods, okay? Because
Yes.
I think all the goods overpower
Mm-hmm.
all the bads. The good thing about being a dominatrix is that for me, it was a transformation into my true self.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to kind of start being myself. I
Right.
grew up in a very Catholic, religious,
Mm-hmm.
misogynistic environment. I'm
Oh,
from
yes.
Venezuela. I grew up there. I was raised there. Oh my God, I hated every moment of it. I did not
Mm-hmm.
feel like I belonged there. So I left the country when I was 22, and I came here, and I tried like a million different jobs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a graphic designer, so I did that, and I did a little bit of Uber on the side until I kind of like opened my own studio and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
the best part for me at the end of the day, to this day, is being able to do whatever I want.
Oh, yes.
Whatever I want. I not want to work today? Cool. I'm just gonna sleep in, and I don't have to put an alarm clock. I
Right.
want to go travel, great. Go work my ass off, and then save some money and go travel. And I have,
Mm-hmm.
like, a few weeks ago, I was in Japan with my best friend, and it's just something that I could have never dreamed of doing if I
Right.
had a desk job.
Mm-hmm.
Another pro is that I feel like a sex god.
Yes.
I feel like a sex god. I want to say I am kind of a sex god.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have this like I've developed this ability to like kind of read somebody and like know where to press buttons to like sexually satisfy somebody physically and emotionally. So
Mm-hmm.
like that is fucking amazing, honestly.
Oh, yes.
um I don't know, can we curse here?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great, awesome.
We like fucks.
Because I'm like I have a sailor's mouth, I'm so sorry. And on the con side is obviously the social society part.
Yeah.
My boyfriend's parents hate me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not welcomed in their home,
Yeah.
type of deal. This job can definitely be a little bit isolating. I don't have like an office I can go to and work, and I kind of socialize. Like a lot of what I do is like either from home or from my dungeon. So that can be very lonely sometimes, and especially after COVID. Like I had a social meetup, we would hang out a lot, and that kind of stopped because COVID, and then I kind of like, you know, started working and then just kind of forgot about it. Like sometimes I feel like, okay, let's open up a meetup again, and then I'm like, oh, well, I have so many other projects.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, fuck. And I want to say the other con would be that like people just kind of like obviously fetishize you, but that's my job. So it's like, can I really complain about that? Not really.
Right.
But
You
like
could,
everybody
well,
wants
you
like
can
free
bitch to
sessions,
people
you know?
that are kind of in the community because we know what it's like. Like people
Yes.
see you as a product. They don't see you as a human. So sometimes that makes you feel like I'm a human too. Give me a moment to be a fucking human.
Yeah, I don't like to complain. A lot of my friends and my partners say that I'm stoic, and I'm like, I get it. You know, I get it. That's everything I post on social media is about me. Look at me, Dominatrix. Look at me, I'm shiny. Look at me, book a session. So like, of course they're gonna like see me like that, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I made myself into a product, and I love it. Like honestly, doing all these photo shoots and video clips and all that stuff, I want to look at that stuff when I'm old and be like, look, I was a rock star. You know, it's fun. I'm okay with
Glory
that.
days, right?
Totally okay with that.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of people don't see the freedom and the flexibility it gives you. Like you literally get to be your true self. And then people that enjoy your true self can be there to not only witness it, but be part of your growth because we grow every day.
We do. I have grown. I've changed so much in the last 2 years. I feel like I've matured. I used to be a little bit more of a like a what you would call a bitch. And I think I've like grown a little bit into like a more respectful person when it comes to like socializing and stuff. I guess it just comes with age also, you know. I'm 31. I guess it's about that time I grow up.
Well, I'm meeting you there.
Yeah. How old are you? Well, I don't know if that's okay.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. I'm 31 too. So
oh, you are okay. There you go. You get it.
We're on the same level.
You know, I feel like 31. I don't feel 31. I feel like 25 still.
Same. Well, I would say that back. I feel like I am until it comes those days where I'm like working back to back and I have no break. And then after 2 days, I realize, hey, I just ran 2 marathons. My body doesn't feel like it did 8 years ago.
Yeah, no. Burnout. I feel like everyone need to attend a class. You know what? I'm gonna host a workshop how to not burn out, because I have been there, and you think you're God and you go and be like, okay, I'm gonna film, I'm gonna do sessions, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and then by the end of the day you're like, why am I living?
Right.
You can't do that to yourself. We're not machines.
And I think that's one of the biggest things within the community too. You get so caught up in it because it becomes an ingrained part of your life. It's not like a 9 to 5 where you go to the office and then you come home and then you decompress. You literally are working 24/7.
Yeah, basically. I have literally stopped. I just purchased a second phone because I am going to detach my personal life and my personal time from work. And I work up until, you know, a certain hour of the day, and then after that I'm done. Because it's just too much. It's too much.
Yes.
You know?
And it's kind of easier to do that after you get a client base built up and your platform is so big, because early on, if you're not present, then you're non-existent.
I agree. Even now, like, oh my God. And keeping up with all the social media platforms is it's bonkers.
Yes.
I love it though. It's just, oh my God, it's so much work. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Oh!
And then you have all your paid stuff too. And then you
like
got
clip stores, events. Let's go to this convention. Did you go to that convention? Oh my God, I missed on that one.
Yeah. And I mean, it gets quite exhausting. It is beneficial because I mean, you do get to pick your schedule, you do get to do the flexibility
Yeah.
stuff, but in all reality, it's like you're always working, like always
It
working.
is. It is. But it's also like, listen, I get to go to the gym, to whatever class I want to go. I love going to
Mm-hmm.
yoga. I'm a hot yoga junkie. I
Mm-hmm.
got in my hot class at noon. I could not do that if I had a desk job,
Right.
you know, and all those things. I get to go, I get to cook fresh meals. One of the
Oh
things that
yes, that
one
is
of my
so
biggest
good.
pet peeves when I was working a corporate job was having to cook my food and then eat reheated food. Like, I
Yeah.
know it sounds like such a first world problem, and it is, but it's
Yeah.
awful. I just,
Yes.
I can't.
Yeah, I am right there with you. I am the same way. And food doesn't taste the same. If you
It
have to reheat it,
doesn't.
it doesn't taste the same.
It
So
does not.
I know
So
100%.
honestly, I do firmly believe that I must have some sort of like mental thing, because every time I would have those like 40-hour week jobs doing like vanilla stuff, I
Hmm.
would get really depressed. I'm not
Oh
gonna lie
yes.
to you. I've been very depressed, and oh
Hmm.
my god, it just it wasn't good.
Right.
So I'd rather be a sex worker.
Yes. 100%. And then you
Honestly, I
you
love
feel
it.
like you're in
I love it.
control.
I can be sexy for a living. Are you kidding me?
Yes, right?
Can be
And
shiny.
bring in
I
the
can, like,
confidence. Like,
play.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
It helps so
absolutely.
much. That's what I have found. The majority of people that I have seen that get into sex work, even myself included, I found that it's very empowering. Like
It is.
overall, it's super
Mm-hmm.
empowering.
It
Um,
is.
and that was one of the greatest things about diving in and talking to so many different people. You get to see all of the productive, kind of where they are mentally with the empowering and positive, all these like encounters and people that you meet, and a
Oh,
cute
yeah.
community that's super supportive. Like, I'm not saying all of them are supportive because obviously there's bad eggs everywhere, no matter what
Oh,
community.
absolutely. Yes.
So,
I went to DomCon early this year, and
mhm,
I was high on the energy of that convention
mhm,
for the entire time I was there.
right.
It was like going into like a little bubble where everyone understood each other,
Yes.
and you felt normal in there.
Mhm,
And that's like, it's a dream. I'm like, I know for a fact that I'm gonna be going to this place every year. And
mhm.
honestly, I'm really thinking of teaching a class there, because
Oh yes.
I think I have some really cool stuff that I can help to empower other women, because that's like my thing, because I didn't have that when I was in the lowest of the lowest point
Right.
in my life, basically, right before I became a dominatrix. So I really feel like somebody needs to, you know, bring other women up. And
Oh
I
yes.
want to be that person.
Oh yes, 100%. And um people like you that are in the position to do so can really not only help people with growth but teach them about themselves, because there's a lot of people that
Yeah.
question who they are internally because they've been told their whole life, oh well, you're this weak person, you're this submissive person, or it's a
Mm-hmm.
patriarch society, so you
A
should
lot of
just
shame. People carry a lot
yes.
of shame for their kinks. At the end of the
Mhm.
day, we're all animals and we have instincts. And
Right.
the way I see it, I'm a very primal person. So the way I see, there's people who are born to be hunters, and there's other people who are born to be prey, and there's others that like to be both.
Right.
And like educating yourself and being able to like consensually play in both roles and not feel ashamed of it, it's
Yes.
so powerful and it's
Hmm.
so healing. Everybody needs to know about this.
Yes, it's almost like it's liberating,
It's
like you
like a
have this
game.
weight.
It's totally a
Yeah.
game.
And you have
It
like
makes
the weight
relationships
lifted.
interesting.
Hmm. And
Mm-hmm.
whether that's like your private relationships or relationships that you develop in the community.
Absolutely. Yeah. It doesn't even have to be sexual.
Hmm. Yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
what I found too. Okay, so my next question is actually going to be, have you ever had a dangerous situation where your health was at risk, whether that's mentally, physically? Have you ever felt like you were in a risky situation?
No, not really. I have like funny stories about like accidents that have happened at the dungeon during a session. I
Mhm.
had I thought I thought the guy was gonna die or something.
Oh.
I was like, okay, this is it. I'm going to jail. This guy's gonna die. It's gonna get on the news. Okay, whatever. Let's
Right.
deal with it. It wasn't that bad, but I mummified this guy
Mhm.
and he was standing. So I was doing like the first torso part up to like almost to his knees, and then I was gonna lay him down to
Right.
like finish wrapping him up. Mummification, right?
Mhm.
You kind of wrap somebody with like saran wrap.
Right.
Oh my god! And this man was like 70 something years old, so obviously not the youngest, strongest man. He
Right.
got dizzy
Oh.
and he fell on the floor like a
Yeah.
brick. Boom! And I was just like, he's dead.
Did he
He's
just
just
kind of like lay
laughing.
there?
He's just laughing on the
Oh.
floor. And
Oh.
he's just like, Mistress, help me! My leg! And I'm just like, ah! That was like the most like dangerous I've ever, been. you know? There was another guy. And this was his fault because he came into the session. It was a group session because I do
Mhm.
group domain
Mhm.
sessions. It was three of us and the client, and we were role playing about some like slave auction.
Mhm.
Well, he did not tell us that before the session he had like 4 drinks, like alcoholic
Mm.
drinks.
Yeah.
And we were doing a very intense CBT session, and we
Mm.
had him like locked like this on the stocks. So
Mhm.
his head was like looking down like this, right? So we're gonna like take him out of the stocks. And because he was so drunk, as soon as he lifts his head up, he passes the fuck out on
Oh.
the floor
Oh.
for like 5 seconds. And like we stop everything and start slapping him. I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, what's your name? Where are
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
Help me. And he's just like, huh? I'm okay. What happened? And I'm like, you fucking passed out, dude. And he's
Right.
like, oh yeah, I had a couple of drinks. I'm like, what do you mean you had a couple of drinks? You're not supposed to do
Right.
that. So that was probably like the most
Oh.
dangerous situation I've encountered.
Yes. Ooh, and
Very scary.
I want to stress to anyone listening to the podcast today, if you do have some kind of impairment, make sure you let whoever you're working with know, whether that be
Yes,
drinks or
please.
medication, even if it's like, the pill helper things, make sure you let them know, because there's a lot of things that you don't understand that could happen, like that, passing out. Or you could give yourself
Mhm.
a heart attack if you take too many of these little blue pills that are supposed to
Oh,
help you.
absolutely. And the thing is, like, this is part of like the negotiation part. We
Mm-hmm.
ask these questions.
Yes.
When somebody comes in, I sit them down. Like, it's not like I open the door and I'm like, boom, ready to
Right.
play. No, I'm
Yes.
like, sit down, let's talk. We do a
Mm-hmm.
negotiation. I ask a lot of questions. Do you have a pacemaker? Do you have any
Right.
medical conditions? Do you have any injuries? Can
Yes.
you be on your knees? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I even have knee pads. I'm
Yes.
like, you can't be on your knees. I
Yes.
mean, okay, I got you. Here,
Right.
put this on. They're leather knee pads. There's
Mm-hmm.
no excuse.
Right. Right.
Yeah, so
And that just
safety
shows how much
first.
pride you take in making sure they're safe and comfortable. So it's a productive
Mhm.
environment. So it's good for you and for them, which is what it
Yeah,
should be.
I have literally had to tell no to clients because there was, I have this client who likes to have a couple drinks, and I
Mm-hmm.
would smell it. He would
Mm-hmm.
say no, and he did not have drinks, and then he want to do poppers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you can't.
Yeah,
Like,
no.
you want to
Yeah.
die or something? Like,
Yeah.
can't do
Yeah, no.
that. So
Mm,
he'd be like, please, please, I want to do it just once. I'm like, no,
yeah.
stop. So like that's like not cool. Like pushy behavior like
Mm-hmm.
that just guarantees you that I'm never seeing you again. Because I don't have
Yes.
to, you know, I don't have to. I do this because I
Mm-hmm.
want to.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. And that goes back to whenever you are doing your negotiations, whenever you're talking to someone, don't change it up mid script. Like if you are in the middle of a session and you just all of a sudden completely
Yeah.
change and you're like, oh no, I want
Mhm.
this instead of that. Like you can't force people into a situation or into a corner because they
Absolutely.
said no in the first place. And you think, well, if I
Yeah.
get them cornered up, then maybe they'll give me what I want. That's not
Yeah.
how it works.
It
That's not a
actually
safe environment.
happened to me. I've only had to kick out one person in
Hmm.
my entire career, and it was a guy who came in and we're 20 minutes into the session. It was an hour session, and then he said he wanted to have like sex with me.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't offer that.
Right.
And I mean, you let me know if you're okay with continuing because this will never happen. Like
Right.
in this lifetime, it's never
Right.
going to happen. So he's just like, "Oh, I want my money back," and I'm like, "No, what you want to do is get your shit and get out of here. That's what
Right.
you want to do." So the guy
Yes.
just kind of like really like ashamed of. I mean, rightfully so. Be ashamed of that because
Right.
I never said I would want to do that or
Right.
offer that. First of all, you know,
Yes.
my work when it's in person is not sex.
Right.
We're not having sex. We're
Right.
doing kinky shit. Different,
Yes.
you know? And for someone to come in and like expect that I was like
Mm-hmm.
not mentioning it, but like doing it, I'm like, no.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
And
so that was super awkward.
I have seen several people have very similar stories. I actually had a similar experience myself. And I had this one guy, we were doing a face sitting session,
Mhm.
and
Oh man.
he decided that he was going to try to move the clothes that I had on.
Yep. Mhm.
And I was like, that is not something that you're allowed to do. And right about that time,
Oh, so
he's
awful.
like, yes, he's like trying to move my clothes. And of course, I have my wooden spoon in my hand. So he had a bruise after that.
Boom. Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
because that was literally a violation.
That is, yeah, that is
You can't
basically
do that.
rape. That
Yes.
is basically rape. And this is why if I ever do face sitting sessions, I'm wearing like 3 panties. I'm wearing
Mm-hmm.
like a thong, I'm wearing a panties, and then I'm wearing booty shorts on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because that same thing has happened to me, and it is absolutely like it's oh I
At
can't
the
even
very
explain that.
at the
It's
very
so
least, it's
bad.
frustrating and it's insulting because these are the
Yes.
guidelines for the session to begin with. This is the therapy that I offer. Nothing in that says I'm going to give you what you ask for over here on the side, because these are the
Yeah.
guidelines. You have to stay within the guidelines. But some people think that
Yes.
they can kind of, butter you up and make you more, I guess, want to do it. But they don't
Mhm.
understand that you don't push people's limits, whether it's a soft limit or a hard limit. We're not going to do that to you, so don't do it to us.
Yeah. It's unfortunately like a type of person, and like when this happens, like the best thing you could do is just blacklist them.
Mm-hmm.
Put them in a little database, you know
Yep.
where it is.
Right.
Use it, keep others safe. And yes, I am a huge like advocate for putting it out there.
Mm-hmm.
Expose these people. Why? Not because I'm a cunt, you know?
Right.
It's because it is necessary
Yes.
that this is known, you know, by other people that are providers or just
Mm-hmm.
people in general. You know, if somebody comes
Yes.
to me asking me, did this person do this to you? And it was an abuser, I'm going to say yes.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm not going out there being like, hey, did you know this person did that? No. But
Right.
if somebody comes to me, I will speak up.
Right.
I don't
100%.
care. I
That's
really
how it
do
should be,
not
though.
care. I don't care.
For the safety of the community and to make sure people
Yes.
are treated with respect. I mean, that goes back to a conversation that we had a little bit prior to starting the podcast today, when we were talking about people that confuse abuse and the kink lifestyle, BDSM, anything within the
Yeah.
community. There are so many people that confuse the two, and abuse is not kinky.
No,
Like,
it's not. It's not. I mean, oh, I could go hours. I could go hours talking about this topic. It's just because when somebody is in a position of power and they abuse that power and they push the boundaries, that's when it becomes a problem.
yes.
And then the other problem is that when somebody is vulnerable and when somebody falls into the headspace of subspace, the person becomes so vulnerable, and then
Yes.
lines start getting blurry. And it's very difficult for a bottom, submissive, slave, whatever you want to call it, to be able to call red or to call their safe word. Why? Because there are certain people that when they go into subspace, they go nonverbal.
Yes.
They cannot react. So
Yes.
what do tops have to do? Follow the rules. You don't push.
Right.
Because that's when things get messy. Even for me as a top, like I have had, like, my current slave, live-in slave, she and this is a thing like a lot of slaves go through, and I call it sub frenzy, when they want to try about everything. And she's like, mistress, I want you to cut me, I want you to draw blood, I want you to scar me, I want you to blah 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 blah, blah. And I'm just like, hold up. Where did this come from? Okay, let's talk about it. Right. Let's go get tested. Let's go get all our safety implements. And then we're going to do a little test. How does this feel? Does this feel good? Yes. Okay, then maybe now we can do a scene and add this thing. It's not like, for example, like blood play, knife play, edge play. These are like really dangerous, complicated things.
They're on the extreme end of the spectrum.
And I am very, very much into the extreme kinks. I love CNC, which is like consent, non-consent. I love knife play, blood play, you name it. But you have to be extremely careful how you get into these things. And that's the thing with like websites like FedLife. Anybody can like put a photo online and call themselves a dom and be like, I'm into knife play, and then little girl, submissive, vulnerable, no, 19-year-old usually goes to this guy's house and gets fucking murdered. Baby
it's
girl.
It's so bad. And the biggest thing for me is that whenever you look at traditional relationships and traditional society expectations, they do teach you that men are supposed to be the dominants, women are supposed to be the submissives.
I believe that as a young adult. Myself, I thought that was expected of me. So yeah.
That's why we were both so confused.
Yeah.
Like, that's not who we are on a fundamental level, but society teaches you to be like that, especially if it's a religious society. And you grew up Catholic, I grew up Christian, and it's
kind of the same, honestly.
Yeah.
Very, very similar.
It's one of those things where you're supposed to have a place and you're expected to stay within the guidelines of that place. Well, that's why even, in Kentucky, it is kind of traditional for the males to be a little bit abusive. Oh, it's showing you tough love kind of stuff.
Honestly, I see it. The whole like bubble, bubble in the state or whatever. Oh, I'm sorry. It just kind of like monkey see, monkey do. So these
Yeah.
guys grow up, they see the same behavior, it's socially
Mm-hmm.
acceptable. So it kind of like spreads out. And it's
Yes.
just so easy to get spread out. Like
Yes.
it's very overwhelming.
Mm-hmm. And then it leads to so many people that have different forms of abuse that they suffer from early childhood up until, adulthood. And it's acceptable, it's normal, and it's expected. So many people confuse a role of dominance with
Yes.
abuse, and
Yeah,
they're completely different. Like, completely.
absolutely. It's very difficult. I at
Mm-hmm.
some point I would personally like to, I'm like kind of transitioning. So I'm a headmistress. I have a dungeon. I have a it's called the Dom House.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a house of domination. We have a secret location, obviously for safety
Right. Safety.
reasons.
Yeah.
And we do domination services, but I'm transitioning into educating. I want to
Mm-hmm.
be a mentor for other women and also advocate for sex worker rights,
Mm-hmm.
for women's rights, and just like equality, like the
Yes.
dream. And like
Yes.
I don't think, like, unfortunately, like I can do this at the same time that I do in-person sessions,
Right.
because I know that the haters would, like, right after, like, they would find out where I am, heck,
Yes.
dox me, all of these things. So like it's gonna be at least a few years until I can move on
Right.
from in-person sessions, and then I can transition into being a full-time like mentor and educator, because that's like
Yes.
ultimately what I want to do. Like my purpose as a woman, as a human being, is to help others and empower other women
Mm.
to know, and like to know their worth, really.
Yes. And
Because
that's such
I
a beautiful
feel like
thing.
we've been so brainwashed into what society
Mhm.
wants us to be. Like, you're a girl, so you like pink. You're a
Yeah.
girl, so you want to go cook.
And they try to
Like,
put you in a box.
and they try to put you in a box, and they never really fit in that box. And I
Hmm.
cannot begin to tell you how much I suffered as a girl,
Hmm.
because I was like forced into this box, even by like my own mother. Like, she didn't know
Hmm.
any better.
Right.
She would always tell me like, oh, you have to go find a rich husband, to
Hmm.
like and have kids and all this stuff. And I'm like, here in my head, I'm like, I just want to be a boss babe and like
Right.
go travel the world and like be free. Like, that's why I left my country.
Yes.
So like I want to teach others. I want, even if it is through sex work, which is like what I know what to do best, what I've
Hmm.
known how to be financially free and legally. Like, I pay taxes, like I run my own business, I sell
Hmm.
content, I'm a photographer. Like, if I can teach others how to do this and be free, even if it's through a controversial path such as
Right.
sex work, I want to do it. I'm doing it. I'm
Right.
very extremely proud of it as well. It's great.
Yes. 100%. And you glow when you talk about it, which is how I know it's real.
Yeah. Next year, we're gonna be hopefully we're trying to like get all this money together.
Hmm.
I'm teaming up with a couple of domes. Some of them are Goddess Kaya on Twitter,
Hmm.
Miss Envy, Princess Mia, and Queen Gia Love, which we're all part of basically the same house,
Hmm.
kind of like powering together. And we're gonna get something like a double booth or something at FetishCon.
Hmm.
And we want to like talk about this. We want to show anyone that goes to these conventions that female domination is a thing.
Yes.
We do this shit for a living. It
Right.
is okay. It is valid. It is beautiful, and it's
Yes.
powerful. We
Yes.
glow. It's crazy. You
Hmm.
had to see a photo of me like 5 years ago. I look nothing like this. This is like a transformation.
Well, I'm going to tell you that it is definitely a positive and very attractive transformation.
Thank you.
because you look
Making me
amazing.
blush over here.
So I don't have to ask you if you enjoy your work. Obviously, we've already been talking about that.
I do. I love it.
But how long have you been in the community?
In the
as a whole?
community. Okay, so let me tell you this. When I was a teenager, before I was an adult, so like we can't talk about much about that, but
Right.
I will say that in my like sexual awakening, it started obviously in like finding porn and like finding my own sexuality and like learning how to make myself come was something that took me years.
Right.
So like if to myself as a woman, it took me like 2 to 3 years to like even fathom and like reach what we call an orgasm. I was thinking, oh my God, how many more women are going through this same thing? Right. And how many more women go through the entire life without knowing how to orgasm? You know, so like, I need to help somebody. I need to help this because it's like the ultimate like rainbow, you know, like everybody needs to know how to feel this, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, sexual education, I didn't have that. So I started online and then I watched fetish porn. That was like the only thing I would really feel interested in. And girl on girl, because I was honestly gay until like I was 18. Right. I feel like I'm still gay. I don't know. I'm just very queer. So then I came to the States and I found FedLife. And I was like blown away because I truly believed that kink only existed in porn. I had no idea that people were subs and doms and like switches and like rub bunnies and like this whole thing. And I was like, wait, what? Right? This is a real thing. Like, you can meet people.
There's actually a world.
Like this is actually something people do for a living. Like I was just blown away. So as soon as that, you know, was a reality, I was like, I have to be part of this. And it all started back in like 2016, I think, or 2015 was when I went to my first dungeon. It's a dungeon. I used to live in Miami, so I was at a really sketchy dungeon. Yeah. It closed like a few months after. Yeah. But it was the first time I walked into a dungeon and I was like, okay, this is like home. Right? You know, walked in, some like a woman was getting spanked by like a huge flogger, like some other people were getting suspended in another corner, and like I'm just like, oh my God, how do I get into this? Yeah, you know, it was like super. I went there by myself. It was like super overwhelming, but also like super exciting. So I went home that night and I was like, I need more. Right? I need more. So I actually started my journey in the kink community as a submissive because again, we already spoke about how I thought that that was what I was supposed to be. Right. So that's when I met my ex-husband and we kind of got together and we were both like completely clueless. He's like, yeah, I'm a dom. I'm like, no. He was just like trying to understand his desires and like, you know, like we fell into really some like abusive stuff, but like we didn't really know what we were doing. So like I didn't know what I was doing. He didn't know what he was doing. We were both kind of like experimenting. We're like early 20s also. So like that did not work out. Right. Right. And then I moved to Tampa. And that's when I started going to more events. So that's how I got into the community, going to events, going to munches. Some of these munches were like social gatherings, people will meet at a restaurant and just kind of like see who you meet and stuff like that. And then I got into a relationship with who is now my ex-partner. and he was like really outgoing, and I wasn't. At this point in my life, I was nothing like how I am right now.
Mm-hmm.
And he was really pushy for like finding girls to have threesomes with. And
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like all about it. I was like, yes, but then I
Mhm.
didn't know how to find these girls. And he
Right.
didn't know either, because I don't know. It's a guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was like, girl, go find another girl. And I'm like, okay,
Right.
fine. So what I did was I opened a meetup.
Mm-hmm.
I opened a meetup group. It was called Young Kingsters. And I was like, listen, I am not really good at going to a bar and like talking to strangers. I actually think that's a little creepy.
Right.
So I'm not going to do that. So I was like, okay, fine. I'll make people come to me.
Right.
So I started like hosting meetups at like a local cafe, and people will come, and some people will like not be a vibe, and some others were like a good vibe. And then all of a sudden, this meetup group had 1,000 members.
Oh, that's cool.
And we used to like throw parties, we used to
Mm-hmm.
throw play parties. It was great until it wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was
Yeah.
great until me and my ex broke up, and then the group kind of like divided. And
Mm-hmm.
then there was like a situation where someone violated consent, and like some people took the side of the victim, some people took the side of the quote unquote abuser, and it was just very messy.
Yes.
So that's kind of like my intro, I guess. And then after that happened, that relationship was like really toxic.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like still trying to be submissive, and then realized like I'm not. I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying so hard to be a housewife.
Right.
I'm trying so hard to like be this thing. And I was like, fuck this, I'm out. And
Mm-hmm.
then one day, a guy was like, I will send you X amount of money if you send me pictures of your feet. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
And then I
Yeah.
asked my friend, like, hey, Mistress Mercy, like, this guy's asking me for this. Like, how much do you like? Is this okay? And she's
Yeah.
like, yeah, do it. And I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, and then all of a sudden there's another guy, and then another guy. And then I'm like, oh my God, I need to open a place to host these
Mm-hmm.
people, because they're just asking for more.
Right.
And that's kind of like how it all started until like what it is today.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it happened. It was very crazy, but like I wouldn't change anything now that I think about it.
Yeah.
Because like after that relationship did not work out, I met my current primary partner. I'm polyamorous, so like
Mm-hmm.
primary partner just means like my nesting partner. We live together and stuff.
Right.
And he has been like nothing but supportive and loving and healing, and just like amazing.
Very nice. Very nice. Now, is your current primary partner, are they submissive? Are they switch?
That is a very interesting question you just asked, because when we met, and this is when I want to talk about like BDSM and healing, for
Mm-hmm.
example. When we met, he was very, very, very submissive, and he wanted that beating. He wanted that
Mm-hmm.
corporal punishment. He would cry, and he would let go, and he would like release. And
Yes.
oh my God, it was so much. And then it's been 3 years. He's not submissive at all. He does not want any more beatings. He's actually exploring his dominant side, and it's beautiful. And I love seeing him just like, that glow up. So he is a switch, but he is no longer like he used to wear a collar 24/7. Like he was mine, he was my sub, my slave, and now we're just like we're each other's.
Right.
So I'm not, it's not like I'm not submissive anymore. I am a switch, but I am like dominant leaning. So you can kind of like imagine the power struggle here.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes.
But it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's fun. Like I wouldn't change a thing.
Well, it sounds like there's been a lot of growth and trust in the relationship, which has allowed both of you
Absolutely
to explore who you are, which is a very beautiful thing.
Yes, I actually shut down my submissive side after my last relationship. It was like
Mm-hmm.
very, very traumatizing.
Yes.
I had a lot of like boundaries crossed,
Mm-hmm.
and oh, it was so bad. Um, but my partner, he just like is it like the example of how a partner should be.
Mm-hmm.
Patient, understanding, listens, like
Right.
just
Very
kind of like
giving.
being there, very giving.
Mm-hmm. He gives you a safe
He's an
environment.
angel. Yeah, so
Yeah.
we kind of like are that for each other.
Good.
We cut our hair today.
Yeah, I seen that. I also seen your
So
picture.
so
You
I
were
cut
looking
my
fine as
hair.
hell on
I had
Twitter.
always wanted to cut my hair. This is kind of like a dream for me. I am living
Mm-hmm.
for it. And when we started a relationship, I told him, you might be switchy, but your hair is mine.
Mm-hmm.
So he grew his hair for the last 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, please, I want to cut my hair. And I was like, I cut you a deal. You let me cut my hair and I'll let you cut your hair.
Mm-hmm.
So he was like, fuck yeah, let's do it. So we went
Yeah.
together today and we cut our hair and we are super fucking happy about it.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad you do small things like that together too. Not just like finding one aspect of the relationship and living in it, but you guys are balanced.
Yes, we're partners before we are in a dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's how any relationship is going to survive.
Right.
I also have another partner who is living with us, who is my slave, like
Mm-hmm.
24/7 kink relationship.
Right.
We don't have a sexual romantic relationship. It is 100% a kink relationship.
Right.
And the three of us live together. She's a transgender woman,
Mm-hmm.
and I met her when she was a man
Mm-hmm.
and guided her all throughout her transition. And it
Right.
has been like such a beautiful like glow up for
Mm-hmm.
her, and being part of that as like her mentor is like it's amazing.
Right.
So like the community, there's just so many colors. There's so many sides to it. And I can't have enough of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like forever growing. Like the growth will never be done.
Yes.
Yes,
It's
which is also a
amazing.
beautiful thing. That leads to
Yeah.
the next question. I know we were talking about religious families sometimes having trouble accepting the real us and kind of
Mhm.
how we evolve into who we are. Do you have a support system outside of the kink community that you kind of keep ties with that support you in your work?
No,
No.
no, I don't. I have my mom.
Yeah.
um,
Has she kind of evolved
so
into supporting you more so?
so my mom and I have had a really rocky relationship from the
Mm-hmm.
beginning of time, especially because when I, was young, I had my very first girlfriend when I was 12.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like a 5-year long relationship. It's crazy. I was a kid and I was
Right.
into this like long-term relationship with a girl, and
Right.
I would run away to go see her and she would like hate me for it, and it was just like really bad. Like,
Yeah.
all my life I've been so fucking repressed. Like, of
Right.
course, how do you not want me to be a dominatrix for a living? Like, I need to get the shit out of
Right.
my system.
Yes.
So, I had some vanilla friends.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what you're asking, right? Like a support system outside of me.
Yes.
I don't have anybody really. I used to have some friends, but I feel like the deeper I went into kink and like what I do for a living and how open I am
Mm-hmm.
with it, like I don't hide my face, I don't hide who I am. I had to delete my vanilla social media. I
Right.
deleted it. I deleted it. All the friends that I had like from high school and like from where I'm from Venezuela, like
Mm-hmm.
deleted. Why? Because uh I mean, it sounds really awful, right? It sounds kind of arrogant, but stalkers I've had stalkers and like haters, and I'm like honestly afraid that someone would go and like trace my
Docs.
mom and where she lives and where she works, and like,
Right.
you know, I've had friends talk about and tell me like how they have active stalkers that have shown up to their dungeon or to their house, and it's like, it's fucking scary, you know. I don't want to have to like hurt somebody or get hurt, because like I'm a fighter, so if someone's gonna try to kill me, someone's gonna die, it ain't gonna be me, you know. So I feel like in the lifestyle that I am, to do the things that I want to do to the level that I want to do things, because I want to be a voice in the community. I don't just want to be, I'm not just a dominatrix, okay? Right. I want to prove to the community that I have something to bring to the table, and to be a voice, you know, like I've been saying. So no, I don't really have support. I also don't have a lot of family. I have kind of like a traumatic, kind of sad past. Most of my family passed, and all I have is my mom, and I have an aunt and a cousin, but we're not really close. They have no idea what I do. We're so like distanced that, I mean, they're not even gonna ask, because like we don't talk. Right. It's not like I can go to them and be like, hey, help.
Right.
I don't have anybody.
I think a lot of people kind of do that as they get older anyway. Like, even if you live close to family, you kind of get estranged. Like, you could live down the block from them and not see them for months or years at a time.
Like, I am very much connected with my mother, though. I see her every week. We do a lot of vanilla stuff. She does know a couple of things. Like, she knows I'm a content creator. She knows that I am a rigger. She knows that I do shibari and bondage and all that stuff. But I don't think she knows, or maybe she does. I don't know. You know, like, you don't really know if they know, right? Type of thing.
But she's supportive of what she knows.
You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and say that I have proved to her and to anybody that I am doing so fucking great that whatever the fuck I'm doing, they can't say anything.
Right.
Not possibly tell me anything. Like, if I am doing better than you financially, please shut the fuck up.
Yes, and mentally.
And mentally. Yes.
Like, you glow. Like, you can tell that it's part of who you are. It's not some kind of like stage act that you go do on the weekend kind of thing. You know what I mean?
No,
this is who you are.
Yes. And I'm just so inspired by so many people in the community. Actually, like, recently met with who I feel is my kindred spirit. Master Joshua. Have you heard of him?
No.
Oh my gosh. If you can get him on the podcast, like, you will know what I'm
send me his information.
I will send you his information. Okay. His name is Joshua Rodriguez. It's funny because that's my last name also. And I met him at DomCon LA this year, and it was like an immediate connection. And we just keep talking, and we have gone through very, very similar stories. And he has a social group called the Kink Collective, and he's like a therapist. He talks to people, he heals people through kink. Oh my god, like, you really need to talk to this guy. And I just see myself in him, and I'm just like, wow, I'm not alone.
Right?
I'm not alone. There's somebody like me doing what I want to do, and he's healing so many people. He has like retreats. It's just like amazing.
Yes, it sounds amazing. Like, it sounds super productive, which is something that civvies don't understand. You can be productive and heal through kink, through BDSM.
Absolutely. And even if you're not being productive, it's just like, okay, well, vanilla people go have a beer and
Yeah.
go to the disco and go watch the game.
Yeah.
We like to hang out and get tied up and get spanked and like slap each other and stuff.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? I don't know. I'd
That's an
rather do that.
outlet. Yeah, me too. It's much more appealing.
Honestly, have you been to conventions yet?
I have not. I was supposed to go to DC for the expo that's coming up,
Mm-hmm.
but I had car trouble. My car died.
Oh boy.
I'm not happy about it, and it's
Oh,
caused me a setback. And then the one that I was supposed to go to right before COVID was
oh yeah.
DomCon.
DomCon, you have to go. Girl,
I'm telling you,
it's
every
like
time,
Disney World for kinky
listen,
people.
every time I get ready, get all of my shit together, something happens with one of my vehicles. And
Man.
like I was just
Well,
bitching to my primary partner about it.
where do you live, if you don't mind me asking?
Kentucky.
Kentucky. I mean, I fly. I fly and the hotel is like next to the airport.
Mm-hmm.
So you fly in, take a 5 minute Uber, you're in the convention. The convention is in a hotel. You can stay in the hotel. You
Mm-hmm.
basically live in the hotel for like 5 days, four
Mm-hmm.
days, and it's just like outside reality.
Right.
It's like a vacation for your mental health. I swear to
Yes.
God. I can't wait to go
That's what I
back.
need. I
Yes.
need I need that. I need a distinction
Listen, if you
between
go, hit
the
me up.
civilian
We'll
world.
hang out. I love getting like a little group, a little tribe. You kind of
Hell
walk
yeah.
around together. You look at the vendors, you go to the classes, and you feel like really connected. And it's just fucking
Yes.
great. It's
And
great.
like that's one of the things I was looking forward to, the networking and the classes, because as much knowledge as I have and as much knowledge as you have, I mean everyone, we're not going to know it all. So whenever
Nah,
you go,
no
you get to
way.
absorb all of this information and it's just like
Hmm.
gimme, 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 gimme. Like I want
I
all of it.
learned so much. I went to a few different workshops. Mistress Porcelain's workshop about like CBT, blood play, needle play, the how to like run the business and like
Mm-hmm.
I actually went there to some of those workshops and I changed a lot of like my business model
Mm-hmm.
and it has brought me substantial amounts of money more.
Very
So like
nice.
that convention paid for itself by
Mm-hmm.
the content and the knowledge that I got out of it.
Right.
So it is an investment. You will
Yes.
grow if you go
Yes.
there. 100%. Oh my God. There's this guy, Orpheus Black.
Mm-hmm.
He has and I feel so like, you know, connected with his style of flogging. I love impact play and I
Mm-hmm.
love the flow of it. And he teaches a class. He's like dancing with those floggers. It's
Mm-hmm.
like crazy. It's like magic. He's just like, oh my God. And I loved it. And to
Yeah.
see that in person, they do demos. You see this, like you see needle play, live, you see blood play, you see knife play, you see primal play, you see, oh my God, it's so many things. And it's also safe,
Mm-hmm.
same concept. This next year, they're doing a CPR course for
Nice.
everybody. You can get certified. Like nobody else is doing this,
Yes. Right.
So it's amazing.
Yes.
That's the community. That's where you want to go.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the biggest reasons I wanted to go, because I want all of the knowledge. Like, I feel like you could never stop growing in your role. And you can't truly know if it's your role without experiencing all of it as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a lot of people like to pick one role and be like, oh, this is exactly what I am. Absolutely what I am. They don't understand that there's growth within it. And you have to experience
Mm-hmm.
something to know if that's you. But most people are like, no, this
Yes.
is what I am. No, you
Even
don't know that.
even yeah, even about things that I'm not into. For example, I'm not a big into ABDL.
Hmm.
One of the main reasons is because for the longest time I just did not understand it.
Right.
So I just what I did recently, I bought some books,
Hmm.
I read, informed myself, And then I'm like, okay, do I not like it because I don't understand it, or is it just not my thing? And then I came to the conclusion, I read it, and I'm like, okay, this totally makes sense. Nope, not into it. Totally fine. But you know what? At least I know
Yes,
why
and you
people
respect
do.
it more now.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You respect it. Absolutely. Because you know what? Who am I to say? I have weird kinks. Everybody has their kinks, and and the community is that place where you are safe to talk about it. You're safe to like flag yourself about it and say,
Yes.
I am into this. Like I am into rubber. I am into latex. I love it. Like if I could sleep in it, realistically, I would.
Right.
You
Right.
know? And I expect people to respect that because I respect others, and that's bare minimum to me.
Yes, I completely agree.
Honestly, one of the reasons why I cut my hair is so I can fit better in the latex hood.
Yes.
Not even gonna lie about that. I'm like, totally.
Oh, it's necessary. I love it. I love it. So my next question is going to be kind of revisiting what you were talking about a moment ago. I know you said that you had a bunch of trauma kind of early on.
Yes.
Whenever you were a child, did you have trauma that kind of led you to be who you are now? Did you
Absolutely.
have some kind of...
Yeah, so I'm not even gonna lie about that. I think I'm a how do you say, like, abuse survivor of abuse, something like that. English is not my first language, by the way.
You do great. You do great.
Yeah. So yes, when I was 7, I was basically like abused by another kid. But like it was another kid my age, so like, that's like blurry there. So I know that like that was a early sexual awakening, and it was a girl too. So my first sexual interactions I ever had was with another girl, which I guess led me into be more interested and open to girls, because like, as a girl, as a 7-year-old, like I didn't dislike it, but my mom had always told me that something like that happening was not going to be okay. So I knew that it wasn't okay. And then later on, I did have other experiences in which I was a victim of rape. I was, more than once. And that really, like, like, as a stoic person, I chose not to dwell into being a victim, and like, I felt like I was going to go down a rabbit hole if I got into that mindset. Instead of that, I took that to power myself through educating myself, to help others not be in that position, to help others not hang out with somebody who could potentially abuse them. That is so important to me. If I can help guide somebody to tell you what are the red flags you need to look for, so you don't get in a position in which you will most likely be a victim of abuse. So yes, absolutely, it does play a role also into my own kinks. And I have totally used safe, sane, and consensual, and risk-aware consensual kink to play in a safe environment in which this type of like CNC play has been extremely cathartic, extremely healing, and honestly, like, thrilling. That you get to revisit things in your brain and rewire your brain in a safe way. So yes, absolutely. I'm not even gonna like bullshit about that, because it is true, and I am not ashamed of it at all. And I don't think any victims of abuse should be ashamed. 100%. Absolutely not.
100%.
Everybody needs to speak up.
most beautiful part is how you were talking about your awareness from having those encounters when you were younger and then realizing that there's a connection with some of your kinks as you got older, but you
Mm-hmm.
use them as a source of power and
Yes.
self-growth. And then you use it as a therapy for healing. So
Yes.
that's so beautiful. So,
And
so
in it,
beautiful. I love it.
and part of it is because there's so many people in the world. There's so many things happening that are bigger than us.
Right.
And if I just like, get in my head and like get inside and just go inwards, how is that going to help me or others?
Yes.
So while I am alive, it is my purpose to spread education, to spread information,
Right.
to help others not be abused again. And I know that, not everybody is going to be strong enough.
Right.
And these things will happen. But, it's like harm reduction at this point.
Yes.
There's a lot of bad people out there.
Yes. And at the very least, you can reach out and be like, you're not alone. It's not
Yes.
going to completely end your
Yes.
life to have this interaction, and you can grow from it.
You can. 100% you can. 100%. There's so much to do in life.
Right.
There's so many beautiful things to experience. And it is possible to heal. It is possible to get out of dark places. And I have 100% seen people who have been victims of abuse. I have 100% helped people that could not do certain things, like they were too afraid of being blindfolded because they had a bad experience with that.
Right.
People who weren't even able to take off their clothes off, certain like trauma can be so powerful.
Yes.
Like some people can't even leave their house.
Yes.
Because they're fucking scared.
Yes.
So it's important, to let the world know that there are people, just other like women, for example, dominance. There's also males too. Yes. But when victims are, victims of from males, it's probably more difficult to go see a man,
yes,
for therapy. And I am not a certified therapist. I'm not a psychiatrist, although that's what I really wanted to do when I was a kid. I just didn't have the ends, to do that.
Right.
Because I left my country. Eventually, maybe I'll go back to school just for the right. education bits, because I don't think I'll work on anything else that's than fandom. But anyways, I just think it is important to know that some dominatrixes are healers. Some yes. dominatrixes have holistic approach. And I am like one of those people that I am educating myself to have that approach, to have right. holistic approach to healing, kink, all of that. Even meditation. Like there is ways to fall into a subspace through meditation. Like,
oh, yes.
You can dominate somebody and not even touch them. You can,
yes.
There's so many ways,
Yes, 100%. So
everyone should try it.
With all of that being wrapped together with you trying to promote positivity, trying to help people understand that it's okay to have experiences, it's okay to be yourself and kind of meet in the middle. What kind of tips would you give your younger self if you could?
Oh my gosh. That's hard. What would I tell my younger self? I would probably tell my younger self that it was okay to be different.
Yeah.
Because I have always been very different. I'm not like that girl just like everyone likes. I've always been like that, like, that who would come off, and even to this day, I have had people that I thought were my friends. Like, I had a friend told me that she didn't want to be my friend anymore, and she's like, I just don't like you. I realize I don't like you. And I'm just like, fair enough.
Right. Right. Well, like
Because I am like I'm very blunt, I'm very straightforward. And those
Mhm.
are like things that are not socially acceptable for women to be.
Yes.
I say what I want,
Yes.
and I always have. I've just I've polished the way I
Right.
say things now
Right.
that are more like human. But when I was younger, I would come off as a bitch
Right.
because I didn't know how to like properly say what I wanted without
Mm.
hurting someone else's feelings.
Right.
So it's part of like the growth.
Mm-hmm.
So I would tell my younger self to be a little kinder. Be kind, please.
Right. I think we all
Yes.
kind of have those moments too, especially when you're finding yourself.
Oh my gosh. I would have
So,
probably told myself to like, no. Honestly, I was dealing with a lot
mm-hmm.
back then. And I'm like, I don't even know how I made it out of the country and like
Mm-hmm.
not end up as a drug addict,
Right.
low life, whatever.
Well, I'm glad you ended up where you did. Just throwing that
Yes.
out there.
So I am really proud of
I'm
myself.
very proud of you.
Yes. I don't know.
I think you should be
No,
super
take
proud
it
of yourself
easy. I
from
feel
the
like
past that
everyone
you
puts too much
have.
pressure on themselves,
Oh, yes.
myself
100%.
included, every day.
Yes. Well,
Fuck.
you have like that stigma, the expectation that you have because you do come from the religious background. You come
Mm-hmm.
from, a country where it's supposed to be like there's one role for you. And
Yeah.
you kind of had the internal struggle your entire life. So it's understandable. And then
You
you
know,
had
and there's also
trauma.
the thing that I'm like trying to spread advocacy and spread the word about this. And I wasn't born here.
Mm.
So sometimes it also feels like, okay, what is someone not from here telling people from here what to do? You know? Sometimes like I do get a lot of that xenophobia and stuff,
Mhm.
but
We're all
whatever.
human. We're all
Yeah.
human. And that should be the only thing that matters.
Yeah. You
Like
know,
you're a human being trying to help
I
other
don't care.
humans
I don't
grow.
care.
Yeah.
I will always, and it has gotten me in so much trouble, and I really don't care, but I will always be on the victim side
Mm-hmm.
because why wouldn't you be?
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, especially if the abuser has a story of like red flags. Like that's all I need.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I
Especially
need.
if there's
I'm not risking
consistency.
it. I'm not risking
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't either. I wouldn't either.
Yeah.
So I know we talked about abnormal kinks kind of early on. Is there any kinks that's just like completely off limits for you? Like you're just like, no, I'm not about it. Either safety, physically, mentally, just something that's like a complete no-go.
Oh yes, I found one. Wow, I have to really dig in there. I am not into Roman showers.
Okay. Okay. Is there like a significance?
It hurts.
Mm-hmm.
So Roman showers, for everybody doesn't know, is the act of vomiting on somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think that's sexy. I
Right.
don't think it's healthy on my body.
Right.
And honestly, it's kind of gross to me. I don't want to see
Mm-hmm.
like my food outside of my body
Right.
like that. Um, and it's funny because I'll do other things. Like I
Right.
am into hard sports, I'm into water sports, I'm into
Mm-hmm.
blood play. Um, I'm just
Not
not
into
into
the.
like vomiting into somebody. It just kind of like throws me off. Oh, and
Right.
another thing that I'm not into is spit.
Okay, that's interesting.
It's
It's
interesting, right? Like you would think like, oh, it spits so normal. Um, I will do certain spit play
Mhm.
in my personal life,
Right.
like with my partner, and like with my partner, that's it.
Right.
Because in my world, fluids are extremely sacred.
Mm-hmm.
So if I am going to give or spit on somebody, and it's usually like inside, it goes inside their body, because that's what it belongs. It belongs
Right.
inside.
Right.
In my head, of course, in my world, this is like an exchange of like your soul almost. It
Mm-hmm.
sounds kind of crazy,
Oh, no, it
but
doesn't.
that's how it is to me.
Mm-hmm.
I would only do this with someone who is like extremely important, who is my partner, because I don't think that is something you take lightly.
Right.
It is very personal. Like, you carry your DNA in that stuff.
Right.
Um, I find that more personal and intimate than
Mm-hmm.
kissing.
Right.
Like when you French kiss somebody, like kissing somebody is so intimate as well.
Right.
So like, I just don't kiss. I won't just kiss or make out with just anybody.
Right.
I'm very, very selective when it comes to that stuff.
Right.
Yeah. I've turned down many, many sessions because they want me to spit in them, and I'm like, nope, not my
Right.
thing. Yeah.
Right. Which is understandable. And people don't realize that everybody has a different view on that. I've
Yeah,
met
it's so
some people.
popular though, like especially in
Yes.
porn. I'm like, wow, like these people are obsessed with spit. I'm like,
Yes.
why?
Even the vanilla stuff.
Yes.
Like,
It's so normal and popular, and I'm like, no.
yeah. And I've seen it like over the years become more mainstream. Like used to, it
Oh
wasn't
yeah.
really into the
Porn
vanilla
is
stuff.
going out of control right now. My
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
The things I've seen sometimes, I'm like, wow, is that normal?
Yeah. Some of those angles, man. Some of those angles.
Jeez. I'm not into like the more hardcore stuff, like prolapse stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, that is hardcore. I feel vanilla when I see this shit.
Yeah. Well, I'm worried
That's
about
not, I don't
mine
think
not
that's
fitting back
healthy.
right. Yeah. Like I'm worried about mine not fitting back right. I'm not okay with that because I want mine to be where it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I agree.
Not
Um,
not like turned inside out. It's
no,
cool for whoever
you
wants
know,
it,
I
but
also have like a limit on like how much I would bruise somebody or
right,
where I would bruise somebody. Like,
right.
I'm not okay with like giving somebody a black eye.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen like, I know some people that do this in person,
Right.
and kind of like, I don't know, like that might be a bit much, but I
Mm-hmm.
respect it.
Right, 100%.
If they're happy with it, that's great. It
Yes.
kind of like, whoa, makes me feel like that's a tad much. But
Right.
hey, if that's what they're into,
Right. Especially if
just
they're
make
like
sure it doesn't fuck up your
consensual.
brain, dude.
Mm-hmm. You got to make
Yeah,
sure
so
everything is consensual and safe. And then, I mean, the sky is literally the limits. You can
I
find
agree.
somebody that's compatible with you. And something that I do want to mention to everyone listening, if you approach one person and they're not into something that you're into, don't get discouraged because not everybody's going to be into the same thing.
I agree.
Just like
Mm-hmm.
Rogue and I are talking about, you kind of have to, it's like dating. You search around until you find someone that is compatible. You don't just pick whoever's there for convenience because
Yeah.
that could end up somebody getting hurt at some point. It's
Yeah.
one of those things, be selective, take your time with it. Don't just rush into it and give yourself time to grow with this person because it is a real relationship. It's not one of
Mm-hmm.
those
Mm-hmm.
things that,
And that's why I'm poly.
yes,
I am
I am too.
polyamorous. Oh, that's great. Fuck yeah. I feel like a lot of kinky people end up being polyamorous because we realize that it is a lot of pressure to expect one person to fit all our
All of your needs.
boxes.
Yes.
Can't do that.
Yes.
It's also fun.
It's selfish of you to have those expectations for someone else.
It's not like sustainable.
Yes.
Very difficult. I
Yes.
mean, kudos to all these couples that have been together for 50 years and they only, been with each other. And I'm like, wow, how do you do that? I don't know. Please
Right.
give these people a gold medal.
Right.
Not for me. I Listen, I catch feelings, okay?
Right. Yes. Well, I think a lot of it is traditional bullshit, and they're like, "Oh, well, you're only supposed to be with this person." And
I don't
if
think
you
so.
if you get a divorce, then you're going against the Bible, or you're going against this, or you're going against that. So it's kind of frowned upon. So it's like forced relationships almost, you know?
I never fit in that like traditional relationship escalator. I don't know if you've heard
Mhm.
about that. I never really like felt any connection with religion
Right.
itself. I'm a spiritual person. I'm a
Yes.
type of person who I believe in like energy. I
Right.
see, I feel energy. You cannot deny like what we call a vibe. You know, there's our energy that people like kind of move, sexual energy. I do tantra and like that has like solidified the fact that energy is a thing in my
Yes.
world. I feel it when I do yoga. I feel it in my body. I feel it when I'm hanging out with somebody, when I meet somebody, you can feel their energy.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
that's what I believe in. I believe in the power that the word has. I believe that us as humans, we're powerful. Our brain is powerful. We
Yes.
can move energy with our brains. That's what I
Yes.
personally believe in. And that's what I live by. It has worked for me.
Mhm.
Um, I believe in being a good person and doing good things. Um, helping people as much as you can.
Mhm.
Um, that's kind of what I that's kind of how I like to live. I don't
Right.
go to church. You won't catch me praying, stuff like that. It's just not my vibe.
Right. Right. And
But respect for everybody who does.
yes, and that's the biggest thing that I've noticed within people that practice in the community that are accepting and loving of others. They're like, "Oh, well, that's you. It's not me, but I support you, and I'm just happy that you're happy."
Yeah,
Like,
as long as you're not hurting anybody, man,
yes.
it's fine. My yoga instructor, who is extremely inspiring,
Mhm.
he's a religious guy. And
Mhm.
and you know what? It does not get in the way that I feel so inspired and almost like if I just go to his class and like he's
Mhm.
there for everybody and I can feel like the mentorship.
Right.
And we don't talk about religion. It's fine. He don't talk
Right.
about that. Nobody cares about that.
Right.
It's just an energy, good vibes. That's all that matters.
Yes, I 100% agree. So I have two more questions for you.
Yeah.
The first is going to be, can you tell me more about your day-to-day responsibilities? Like, what is life like for you?
Oh my God. Well, I feel like every day I like masochistically add something to the list of things. Um,
Never ending. Check.
never ending. Okay, I can tell you kind of like what my day looks like, right? Because
Yes.
it's every day is like the same. Not even gonna lie to you. If it wasn't because my boyfriend has a Monday through Friday work schedule, I would work 7 days.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of force myself to, as much as I can, take Saturday and Sunday off.
Right.
Because if I didn't, I would not have a relationship. Let's be honest. You have
Right.
to spend time with your partner.
Right.
So I wake up, my slave and I, we work and live together, which is
Mhm.
great because like we give each other tasks. Well, I give her tasks, she just does them.
Right.
So she does her job that I give her.
Right.
That's funny. I wake up, we have coffee, we do intermittent fasting, so we're not cooking in the morning, we just drinking our coffee, boom,
Mhm.
getting that boost of energy. And then we kind of like tidy up the house because I cannot hang out in the house if it's
Mm.
dirty. It's difficult.
Mhm.
So, and then I go to my computer, I check my emails. So I have to check emails. I have to be on top of, I'm a headmistress, so I have to be on top of, I rent out my dungeon to other practitioners. So I have to make sure that dungeon's running because I don't
Right.
live there.
Right.
So I have to make sure that everybody paid, the dungeon is clean,
Mhm.
everything is it's taken care of, right? And then, and then I'm like check my social media, which is like four different Reddit,
Mm.
Facebook. Instagram, Twitter. Oh my God. It's like never ending while I'm in the toilet. And like
Yeah.
I'm having my coffee and I'm like, okay, let me sit down for a second. Okay, let's look at TikTok. Okay, let's post something. And then like, oh my God, I had an idea. And then like, okay, write it down.
Right.
So it's a little bit chaotic, but it works.
Right.
And then I go to the gym usually around noon. I try to go 3 to 5 days a week because it's extremely important for me to work out. Then I get back home. It's already like 2 p.m. and I have my first meal of the day, which is usually made by my slave, Miss Arden. And then I would either have a session or I would create some content. And then if I'm not having a session, I create a content and I'm editing the content. I spend endless amounts of hours on my computer and I like take breaks, go to the porch, have a little bit of tea, come back, watch some YouTube videos, research, you know, and then by the time it's like 5 or 6, my partner is coming from work. So I'm like, okay, I'm done. I'm done for today. It's been like 8, 10, 12 sometimes more hours. So I'm like, okay, that's it. Let's rest. Let's cuddle a little bit. Let's play or let's go on a date. And that's kind of my day. And that's kind of like every day, really. Yeah. But I love it. I love it. I'm currently working on opening a what is going to be called the Dumb House Productions, which is going to be a fandom focused clip site. You know, based on the Dumb House. So we're gonna be like inviting a lot of artists to come film and like do trade and stuff like that, and just kind of like open our own little porn production and stuff. So
I'm excited.
That's a lot of work. I'm cooking that with Goddess Kaya, but that's gonna be amazing. So I cannot wait.
Well, I'm super excited to see where it goes. So keep me updated.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, I do have one more question for you before I let you off, and it is, do you have any regrets?
Not starting earlier, girl.
Yeah.
Fuck. Like, oh! You know, I started when I was like, what, 25, 26, something like that. Oh my God, if I had started when I was like 21, I will be a millionaire by now.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting. Waiting.
Yeah.
No, but you know, I think I would have been too young to get it.
Yeah. You think you had to have the growth that you had to get?
Yeah. I think at 21, you're still a little too young. I'm usually a little worried. I mean, I guess like, yeah, I feel for this like baby domes are like 20, 21, 22. I'm like, fuck, I really hope you don't get in any trouble. You don't get like taken advantage of and stuff like that, because like we're still very naive. We're still very like giving, too giving. And I think that it is dangerous if you don't have the malice to like, you know, set boundaries. That's stuff. That's the tough part.
To them.
And stick to the boundaries. Yes. Oh my God, that's the most important part.
Yes.
Yeah. So that is my regret, but not really. So I don't really have any regrets.
Yeah.
I'm not a very like, oh my God, if I had no.
Right.
I'm like, you didn't do it, bitch. Like, live with it. Like, move on.
Right.
That's kind of my mindset. Like, I can't. I just come on. Tomorrow's a new day. Let's go. Let's be done with it. Type of thing.
Well, I admire that, because not everyone can be that positive.
I know. It's hard. It's hard, but you know what's harder? Depression.
Yes.
Depression sucks.
And it lasts so much longer.
I know.
Be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself.
Be kind to yourself. Absolutely. Yes. I have been absolutely depressed before. Like, on the edge of like taking my own life before. I have. I thought about it. I had a gun in my hand one time, and I was really, really, really thinking about just taking my own life.
Right.
At the like ending of my last relationship.
Mm-hmm.
with
With the
who
abusive.
with the abusive
Okay.
person, yes. And you know what? I thought about my dog.
Right.
I thought about my dog and my mom, and I was like, I can't do this to them, so I'm just gonna push through. And I got a medication. I'm not ashamed of it.
Right.
Go get your fucking medication. Take your fucking
Yes.
pills. You will be okay. And
Yes.
I was, and it was like really hard for like 6 months. And then at the end of it, I met my current partner,
Mm-hmm.
and we started dating for like 3 months. And I was like, one day I saw my pills, and I kind of like, do I need this anymore? And I
Right.
was like, no, I think I'm happy now. And I think I got over that. So I spoke to my
Right.
doctor, and I was like, hey, I think I'm good now.
Right.
And slowly got off the meds.
Right.
And it's been 3 years, and I haven't
Oh,
had to take them anymore.
congratulations.
But you have to seek help.
Yes,
You
100%.
have to. You have to.
And
Professional help for sure.
I want to 100% say to anyone that is listening right now, if you have those kind of thoughts, you can reach out.
You can
There,
reach out,
there are plenty
please.
of people out there that want to help. If nothing else, you can call 988 and there's a helpline. They will literally, if you
Yes.
just need someone to talk to, like it doesn't even have to be something major, just for a moment. If that thought runs through your head and you think you're alone, reach out 988.
Mm-hmm.
Help is available. You're not alone.
Yeah. I don't really reply much on
Mhm.
my like social media DMs because they're usually very, very like, constantly floated with people just saying hi,
Oh,
hi,
yes.
hi, hi.
Oh,
But
yes.
like, for example, on like my more personal socials like OnlyFans, like I always talk to people. I
Mhm.
just chat, and people can talk to me, and it doesn't have to be sexual. It
Right.
doesn't have to be about kink. It doesn't have to be anything. I'm just a girl, man.
Yes.
So, and I
A
just want to
very
talk to,
open,
I'll talk to you
intelligent.
about
Yes.
anything. Thank you. You know, it's important.
Yes.
Socializing, we need
And
people.
one of the biggest things that people don't realize is what we do is a form of therapy. So if you need
Mhm.
someone just to talk to, it's cool. I had a guy that literally buys sessions to paint for me. He likes just to paint and me to
That is
watch him paint.
amazing.
So it's mainly because he feels like he's disconnected with society. He feels like he doesn't have any friends, any family. So if that's what you like to do, it's cool. Like we're not going to judge you for that. We don't
Nope,
judge. Like you're
nope.
cool. You can reach out.
Yeah, I've heard about friends doing sessions, and the client just wanted to take a nap on her lap.
Yeah. Or lay
Like,
under a tree.
you just wanted to watch. I've had sessions in which I have just gone on a date.
Mm-hmm.
He just wanted to go on a date with the Dominatrix because he didn't have anyone to go to a concert with him.
Mm-hmm.
I went to a concert with him, and we had dinner, we talked, he asked me
Mm-hmm.
questions about my life. I asked him questions like, listen, I will talk your ear off.
Right.
And sometimes that's what people need. They just want to talk, and like,
Yes.
that's part of my aftercare with every person that I see. There's many people who do
Yes.
not want aftercare. I will say that. There's
Mm-hmm.
some people who don't want to talk about anything after. They just want to like pay you for this. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Pat in the head and let go. You
Yeah.
know? But some other people, I love talking to them. We just
Yes.
kind of like sit down and hang out.
Mm-hmm.
I won't like really cuddle with people because like I think that's very, very intimate, and it's
Right.
just something I'm not comfortable with. But
Right.
my forms of aftercare can be anything from like having a conversation. I feed them sometimes. I'm like, here, have a
Mm-hmm.
soda, have a little snacky. You want some
Right.
chocolate? You want some
Right.
water? You want to take a shower?
Yes.
Like,
Oh, and anyone that's listening that does not know what aftercare is, that's That's kind of common, believe it or not.
Oh my
Unfortunately,
God,
even
yes.
within the kink community, people do not know what aftercare is. Aftercare can literally be any needs that you have, even if it's just like a discussion because maybe you were uncomfortable with something. Maybe something made you feel really good and you want to experience it next time. Aftercare is what you do afterward to make sure everybody's in a good mental space. You know, we want
Yes.
to make sure everybody is in a
Honestly,
positive environment.
you need aftercare, even in vanilla sex.
Yes.
It's like not having aftercare is the equivalent of having sex with somebody and immediately go and get dressed, put your shoes on, and leave.
Yes.
It's exactly the same. It's damaging.
Yes.
It makes you feel used, especially when you do like hardcore stuff.
Mm.
But even if it's not, you always debrief. You
Yes.
always check with your partner. How are you? Are you okay? Was there
Yes.
something you didn't like? Was there something you really liked you want to do again next time? Was that too hard? Was that too soft? Like,
Right.
it's important. It's very important. It makes the other person feel seen. It makes the other people feel like you care.
Yes.
And that is important because I wish I had felt
Yes.
like the other person cared earlier
Yes.
in my life.
Extremely important.
Fuck. You will
Yes.
think it's so basic.
Yeah, but it's not.
It's not, yeah.
Literally, the majority of my subs, especially in real life subs, they do not know what aftercare is. Like if they're filling out the application, they message me and they're like, I don't know what this means. And
My
I have to explain
God.
it to them. Now, I'm not upset explaining it to them. I just feel like it's sad that more people aren't educated, which is one reason the podcast is here. So thank you guys for
Yes.
listening. Thank you for
Spread it like the fire.
yes, that's what we need to do. Because I hate people not having the knowledge because in a situation like this, especially knowledge is power. It's
Yes.
consent. Knowing your boundaries, knowing what you're okay with, knowing what you want to do next, knowing what you want to avoid. All of that is part of the communication that's included in aftercare. So if you're not participating in aftercare, you're not communicating.
I agree. Absolutely. I'm really happy like you know all of these things. We are on the same page. This is amazing. You are amazing. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you for coming. I was so
Honestly,
excited to meet you.
I am so sorry. I had to cancel a few times because I broke my damn leg. Oh,
I know, you told me. So like what happened with that? Did you like
I've been trying to work out because I want to get abs and stuff. Like, look at these guns.
Yeah, I see you getting thick. Yeah.
I love working out and it just makes me feel so good. And I love being strong because I love lifting people and I love
Right.
suspending people. And oh my God, I'm short, but I'm spicy.
Right.
So I was sprinting in a circuit class at the gym and I don't run. I've never really been really good at it. So I kind of stopped for like 10 years and the trainer was like, just go back and forth from wall to the other wall. And I'm, simple enough, right? Nothing could go, what could go wrong? Well, I got a little too excited. Maybe I had a little too much coffee and I was sprinting like little too fast for like my experience. And when I touched the wall and I turned to come back, that's when it popped. Like my calf popped.
Oh, was it like a fracture? Like a hairline
So I don't
fracture?
know. I think it was some sort of like a medium level tear. It's healing pretty fast. It's been a week. I did see my chiropractor and they said if it doesn't get any better in a week, go see a doctor, but it's better. I'll be fine.
Right. Just a matter of giving it the time that it needs.
Yes.
We both know that we're impatient.
I'm okay. I've been doing yoga and meditation for the last 8 months and I feel like that, and I would recommend anybody to try it.
I thought about yoga.
It has like prepared me for this type of situations. If I had no experience like being calm and like meditating, which I didn't know how to do up until a few months ago, I would be freaking out, stressed, and like meltdown, and like
Yeah.
going into like rabbit holes or like depression or whatever.
Yeah.
I popped. I was just laughing. I'm just cracking jokes with my
Right.
friends. I'm like, oh my God, I'm on Hot Wheels now. Like, look at
Yeah.
me, making funny TikToks about it, because everything is about perspective.
Yes.
And if
I
you
agree.
are just like, oh no, now I'm in a wheelchair,
Poor me.
like poor me. That's not fun. That's
There's
not
a
gonna
king
help
for that.
you. Now there is. I'm 100%. So okay, I am very much into medical play. As a matter of fact, I believe I have the only dungeon in Florida that has a medical room.
Mm-hmm.
And I am 100% bringing that wheelchair to my dungeon. I'm just leaving it there for anybody who ever has a wheelchair kink. I am doing this.
100%, and that is amazing. I'm
like,
loving it.
fuck yeah, and crutches.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
It's been so much fun doing this tonight. Thank you so much. I feel so energized. I'm like, I don't even know how I'm gonna go to bed. Like, where's the party?
I'm super glad you made it. And for anyone listening that doesn't already follow Rogue, you can follow her at Mistress Rogue FL on Twitter. And she has all of her links there too. So you can literally, they're conveniently located. You can click them and it takes you to every one of them. I'll also put them in the bio of the interview today. So make sure you give her a follow and give her all the support because she deserves it. Look how amazing.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me. This has been absolutely fantastic.
Well, I really appreciate you coming and being the breath of fresh air that we needed.
Thank you. Anytime, really.
I'll let you get on with your day. Thank you guys so much for coming to support the channel and its growth. And we'll see you on the next episode of Forbidden Depths. You have a nice day.